Cowboy Jim, what an honor for me to have this privilege. It is a privilege, children, let me tell you, of, well, I am not very techno savvy. I mean, gee, today I just learned how to speak into the messenger thing, and oh, geez. It would have been better if I was speaking instead of breathing. Apparently, breathing is a little bit rough right now. I didn't know that. I have been going through maturing, growing up, kind of getting to know myself, let's say me, and I've had a lot of help. I had my cousin, John Martin. What a good kid. Well, he's about 77 or 78. Oh, but he is a kid at heart. And he told me many years ago that I should have been a preacher, and I don't like preachers that much at all, except for a few that I met who are extraordinary. And I never ever wanted to be a preacher. Didn't. I wanted to find a way of building people up, touching their hearts, making a difference, maybe giving a few dollars here and there where I could, perhaps just watching someone who is doing their job, earning their wage, and letting them know, man, I'm impressed, eh? Like, you work so hard, and that sort of thing. And for me, it's kind of critical. John Martin, I don't know if you watched that one on the Mountain Lion or not, but John Martin is my cousin, and he's kind of my brother, and he and I, we were the ones that were attacked by the Mountain Lion. I never told John this. I hope he watches this. And I went into Jimbo's Archery in Calgary. And the guy behind the counter, he said, so where's your branch? And I said, oh, it's just halfway between here and Black Diamond. And there was another guy standing about 6 foot down looking at some stuff. And, oh, by the way, I'm never going to blow my nose on this video thing again. Dear Lord. Oh, gee, it sounds not good. So I'm going to figure out how to daub, D-A-U-B, daub my nose, and because that sound is just terrible. Not good, children. So anyways, Jimbo's Archery, Calgary, best archery place in the world. I bought 2 crossbows there. Unfortunately, a stupid jerk at work who beat me up, I let him, because I wanted to keep my job, and that didn't work out anyways, and he was fired, and oh well. I mean, publicity is something that a company doesn't want much to do with when it kind of looks like as though their name might be dragged through the mud a bit, and I don't think they did anything wrong. And they didn't do that much right as far as I was concerned. Guy down the counter, he says, you live out there by that old rancher that was attacked by that mountain lion? I said, well, that sounds like a story I'd sure like to hear. Well, he says, this old rancher, well, it may well be that he kind of lives right in your neighborhood. He said, how is it you couldn't have heard that story? I said, well, I don't get out that much. And he said, well, tell me about it because it sounds interesting. I said, did the mountain lion kill him? And he said, no, it didn't. He said, in fact, that old rancher, he killed the mountain lion. And I said, well, that sounds interesting. I said, what type of rifle did he use? Oh, he didn't use a rifle. That old rancher lost a third of his elbow back in '85, and so he uses a crossbow because he's the doctor. Anyways, and so I said, well, did he tree the? He said, no. He said that mountain lion come out on the trail and ran straight at that old rancher. And he said, I think there was someone else there with him too, but he ran straight at that old rancher, and that old rancher apparently he was just sitting down. He didn't even bother getting up. He just put the crosshairs of the crossbow on that mountain lion and waited for that mountain lion to get to the place where it would plant its feet and then jump and kill that old man. And I said, oh, gee, that sounds exciting. I said, did the mountain lion kill him? And the guy said, no. He said that old man waited until that mountain lion was ready to jump and put the arrow right in that big cat's chest. I said, I'd sure like to meet that man. Oh, he says, oh, this is just a customer standing at the counter. When we were buying some junk, I was buying some arrows or something. They're actually called bolts for my crossbow. And every time you shoot an animal, you can't use the arrow again or the bolt because, they out of my big crossbow, which incidentally was stolen. But you pull the trigger on a crossbow, and that arrow on my big crossbow is a .421 Excalibur, Cold-in Assassin. Not very nice. No, children, not nice. But the arrow is just destroyed after that because it goes so fast and it hits so hard and depending on the bone and so on like that. And I don't like killing anything. I don't. I just don't. I feel that we as hunters, ranchers, it's kind of like if there were a way to accomplish the same goal without taking the life of an animal, I would find that way. But sometimes when your back's against the wall, and I love that, I love to know that I can't step back. I want to know that I have to go forward. I have to. And I've always believed, from the time I was very, very young, I have always believed that my God loved me and that he would take care of me. And no matter the adversity, no matter whatever, whether it's a doctor with poor bedside manners saying all you big guys are the same, you're wimps. And I'm not tall, but I was pretty big in body. I played along with that hunter. I had so much fun. I did finally tell him that I was the one that killed the mountain lion, and he didn't ask for an autograph, but I'm telling you, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. And I would have given it, but, I just kind of thought it was nice that someone, just a chance meeting in an archery store 35 miles from the ranch, and dear Lord, my father, he's been so kind to me, so kind. my cousin John, he said, Jim, he said, I really like your stories. And he said, I think, he said, I think it would be better if you could get about half a dozen horses or a dozen horses and you could do trail rides out through the back and talk about your stories. And he said that way the people would have a decent ride and a pleasant time. And those stories that you tell about what God's done, what he's still doing, would just be that much better. It was John Martin. I know I've told this a few times. It was John Martin that told me to get a tape measure out one day and look at that, set it at 85 and inches, because I don't do metric crap. Never did. Never liked it. If there ever was a tape measure that made its way into my cabinet shop and it was metric and imperial, I'd just grab that thing. I'd walk through the door, open the door, and I would pick some place where I wouldn't hit a horse. And I'm telling you, I just threw that tape measure as long and as hard as I could, because for me, learning is a privilege and a joy. But to go through the process of learning metric crap, I mean, 36 inches is a yard, 39 is a meter, and it just seemed counterproductive for me. But John, he said, put your finger on that tape. I had pulled out to 85. He said, put your finger on that tape and at how old you are, and I told him, and so I put my finger. He said, count between your finger and 85. That back then was when the average Canadian was living to, and I did. And he asked me a question. He asked me several questions. He did the, well, he and I both, we grew up. He lived in Port Colborne, and I lived at Wasaga Beach on Georgian Bay, and we grew up decent. I think it was decent, and John said, he said, Jim, don't you think it's time to be happy? He said, are you happy? I said, well, I don't know. I don't have a clue. I'm not sad. But he says, all you do is work. I said, if I don't work, we won't be able to hold on to this place. And so I worked. I have had the privilege lately of changing my directions. To change your direction, if the direction you're going in is wrong, is a good thing. To change direction just because the going gets tough, that's silly. It's not worth it. You do your best and screw the rest. Sorry, I'm a bit rough. Well, I'm really rough. And I didn't know how to handle his questions about being happy. I'll tell you, I went to work on that question, and I looked at it from every side that I could, and I realized that I did not know what being happy was. I knew what the feeling of satisfaction of knowing that I'd done my best. Very disappointed when my best was not good enough. I mentioned Big Larry Mirendorf the other day, and he and I, when we turned 40, he had to wrestle a bear at the Sportsman Show, and he is very shy. And so he had called me and he asked if I'd drive the 50 odd miles down to the sportsman show and go in with him. And I said, why would you want me to do that, my brother? He said, because I can't. I said, you can't what? He said, Jim, Big Larry was 6'5". He exceeded 400. I'm pretty sure he's about 450 for something. Heavy, but strong man, but heavy. Too heavy really for he died. So too heavy really for his well-being. But I remember that night at the sportsman show, and I remember asking my father, you see, I talk to God, and people think that's crazy, and I'm sorry, I don't give a rat's ass what you think. I know what I know. I study scripture. I'm not I don't do a very good job of it. I am no preacher. I don't want to be one. I was called Rev for nearly 30 years by some of the best contractors, subtrades that I believe ever existed, and they were around Didsbury, and the one Ross Campbell, he's a plumber, and Ross he called me Rev one day, and I looked at him and I thought, I could not detect that he was mocking me in any way at all. He never would. I'm sure he never would. I mean, he was so respectful. You see, we all grew up. Well, we weren't religious, I guarantee you that. But we had this innate understanding of respect and of honor, dignity, character. When I was a kid, I don't know of a single man who would not have laid their lives down to take the place of a lady who was being killed. That's the way we thought. And Ross Campbell, he called me Rev, and I thought, what an honor. What a joy. But what do you do? What do you do with the word happy? I didn't really understand. I had many occasions of a pleasant experience. I started to tell that little short story about that black little stud colt that come out of the mare, and when you're delivering a stud colt, you have to be very careful that you don't hold on to the front feet too hard, because the bones they're pretty soft, the tendons and stuff like that hold it together, and you are holding on to the front feet. Once they come out, you don't want that baby to go back inside and circle that paddock again. You want that little one to keep coming, but you want it to be ready to come, and the mare has to be working pretty hard, and that little guy he got his nose out, and God, I do not know how in the ever-loving world. Whoa, jeez, this thing is really interesting. Oh yeah. Well, that works. If I could learn out, I'm gonna have to read the directions, I suppose, and try to set that thing. But that little black horse come out, and he had a white nose, a little snippet on his nose, and as I drug him out slowly, and I mean, you just about had your foot on that mare's rear end, not like pulling a calf, but there a stud colt, any colt, I suppose, pretty big, probably weigh, I'm maybe, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds, I don't know, pretty blessed big, and and that little guy come out, and I gentled him out, and I took the membrane that covers that whole baby is about an eighth of an inch thick, and so you get that little baby out where its nose is exposed to the air, and you have to tear that membrane and get it torn back so that baby can start sucking air, and you just drag that up to you. And sometimes it's like you're getting the feet are kind of almost over your shoulder, and that little baby will finally come out, and it kind of like is expelled from the mare, and that little baby, he planted the biggest kiss on my lips that I'd ever seen. Now, here, understand, I don't think a colt can even see. I mean, that little guy didn't have a clue what he was doing. My mouth, being Irish, it was, this time it was at the right place, not saying much, and that little baby gave me the biggest kiss, and his name is Fuse, and he's still at the ranch, and I would say he's probably 12 years old by now, and I loved Brown Boy. I don't love horses, I don't love cars. Corvettes are kind of hard. I like them. I like Dodge Cummins. I like them. I don't love them. They're inanimate. An animal is not inanimate, but it's still not able to stir my heart as much as being in love with a beautiful woman. And I went for a drive downtown today, and I was kind of smiling. I've been smiling the last week, I think, and I thought about John Martin. Isn't it time you enjoyed yourself? We're a little happy. And I started to realize today what being happy is about. And it's most peculiar. I would like to say it's totally internal, but it does have external influences that enable the individual to realize this innate joy, the peace. Maybe I am what I appear. Okay, I am an Irishman. I have fought. I look at my hands. I never once picked on anyone my own size. I never once was in a bar fight. Not once. Not once, not ever. I fought in judo. I stood up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. Somehow I got a little bit of a reputation. That's not a good thing. I realized today, when I was driving my old Dodge Cummins Dooley, that I was happy. I have to quantify things, and I have to ponder. I have to study. I have to learn. I have to be developing. I have to. My shoulder, I'm starting back exercising again. I really, truly did a number. and I haven't been able for a while. I couldn't even lift a cup of coffee, but I'm getting better. I'm healing. And as I drove, I thought I am experiencing something, and I'm pretty sure it's called happy. And I'm not familiar with some emotions. I'm not inclined to be emotional. Brown boy, yes, I wept her pretty hard. Okay. Not as bad yesterday as the day I buried that big boy. But in spite of whatever situation in my life that I've come up against, I've always known that it's going to work out. Somehow, some way, it's going to work out. And the word innate, I love that word. It's a deep-seated, somewhat knowledge, a gift. It just flows from inside out. And I realize today, not earth-shattering, come on, jeez. If everything we learned was earth-shattering, well, shoot, that's just stupid. But I realized today that I am happy. And I really wanted to know what was the cause. A friend of mine, she said, happiness has to come from within to be able to self-fulfill, replenish, as it were. Because happiness is kind of like diesel fuel. You use it, you want to fill the tank back up. Love in relationship with not necessarily your spouse. Nowadays, people don't even know. It's not important. And I suppose in many ways it isn't. I like Phil Robertson on Duck Dynasty. He has been coming up this last while with the idea that marriage has been something that we have allocated responsibility to the government to take over and handle, or church, or preacher, or whatever. But he said back in the days, the pioneer days, people fell in love and they made a commitment to each other and they went to bed. And that's where the marriage ceremony took place. Well, actually, that's very similar to Jewish marriages 4,000 years ago, and the marriage was not done at the front of the church. Shoot, 4,000 years ago, they didn't even have a church structure building, and but they had hearts, and those hearts they shared with each other. And I don't mean like animals in the field, okay? Like that's I don't mean that. I mean love. So I wander. That's with an A, and I cover quite a few little trails as I'm heading to where I want to be and want to go. It's kind of like I have a picture of a mountain ahead of me, and I don't really know how the trail's going to go, but I do know that if I keep following that trail, I will get to where I want to be. Today I found myself where I want to be. I didn't know much about how happy felt, happiness felt, but it started to come today. And it is not really an external source. It is from within. And for me, it is the knowledge that I know that it's working out. I don't know what it is that's working out, but I know it is getting better. And I will say that in some ways I know that my happiness, though it's not dependent upon another, it can well be enhanced by another. It can well be enlarged, increased, expanded by the thoughts of another. My eldest son, he was very clear. Actually, I think he could be a little more respectful. But he wants for me to not own up. I own up to my responsibilities well. But he is so concerned that he wants me to know that I know about what's going on, whatever. And I appreciate that. I've been smiling quite a bit this last while. There's a reason. I'm not saying what it is. I have to be very careful because I have a giant heart and my mouth is not shy of being well suited to be used. And I am trying diligently to grow up a bit. Maybe perhaps that's a word that is not out of character or out of an appropriate place. Well, within an appropriate sentence structure for me. I don't know that my happiness may wane. I don't think it will. I have been on death's door 14 times. I have been 3-4 times. I've been where the doctors they seem to be just as confident as I am, but the one surgery when my big German mare kicked me, she broke 8 ribs, my left arm lengthwise. Just green stick, slapped me on the side of the head and it really hurt my nose and ruptured my spleen. And at the end, I wasn't even going to go to the hospital, and if I hadn't, I would have been dead, because when I got to the hospital, the little lady whose horses she had run out of money, and I said, I'll get your horses, we'll take care of them, you won't owe me a cent, you get your feet back on the ground, you just let me know where you want me to drop your horses off, and no charge, you're a friend. I don't have a lot of friends, and she really wasn't my friend, but the ones I have, I hold on to in a very respectful manner, and I have been on death's door. Average heart transplant takes 5 blood transfusions, one after another. German mare kicked me. They gave me 6 in a row. And the doctor said, Jim, he had never seen the like, but I was bleeding inside just so badly. And I wasn't happy, but I was not sad. And I sure as hell was not scared. fear, I know what fear is. It's a spirit that ministers, attacks you in a specific area, and they're actually fallen angels that work for Satan, good and evil, all that stuff. Get over it. You don't believe it. I don't really give a rat's ass, because I know what I know, and I know it is for me, and I don't care what you believe. I don't. I really don't. I don't want to convince you to live like me in order for me to feel that my belief system has been justified because, hey, some other dummy has decided to believe the same as me, so I must be right. That's not the way it is. Not for this old cowboy. I just choose to, I'm looking at my Bible, I choose to believe in a God that is an alien being that has not been from this earth. Not the God that I was taught about as a kid in church. I attended church 40 years. I have nothing against church. I have a lot against hypocrisy. But the biggest hypocrisy that I'm concerned about is not someone else's. It's me. I want to make sure that what I say on Sunday is lived out on Monday. I want to know that. I lived down in Gregoire for a while, and I lived with, I didn't know, but I lived with an abject, absolute hypocrite. And he was not religious. He was a hypocrite. Spoke out of, we used to say, out of the one side of his mouth would be credible, good sounding crap, and out of the other side of his mouth was just hypocrisy. Because in living out, I say, listen, I believe in thus and so. Oh, but I wait until I'm asked. I don't jam stuff down people's throats. I don't want to infringe on somebody else's rights. I just don't. But I want to make sure not how someone else is living. I want to make sure how I am living. And so it's been quite remarkable for me to experience being happy. I'm going to study on it for a while. I'm telling you, I am studying myself a lot. Because, you see this? I like doing that. I like smiling. A friend of mine, beautiful friend, said, you need to drink 4 liters of water a day. And I thought, whoa. And potassium pills, and I forgot to buy them today. But I will go and I'll buy them tomorrow. And use salt. And my body will function better. And I mean function. Completely. And I don't mean just digestively, okay? That's Kellogg's brand buds. I want to wake up tomorrow, and I want to be as happy tomorrow as I am today, as I was yesterday and the day before. And this is a new thing for me, children. This is a new thing. I smile a lot, and I've spent my life trying to build people up. But I haven't had too many people trying to build me up. I haven't needed too many people. I grew up, the only person I needed was my mom, and she loved me, and there was no doubt she did. And she taught me how to be a man and all those things. And she was good. She's a good woman. That's why I care so much about child abuse, and I care so much about women who have been put down and all that stuff. And I met someone, and they put a lady down who I happen to hold in high regard, high esteem, and they were not prepared for my response to what they were saying, because here is something that for me is critical. We all live our own lives according to the standard that we have set for ourselves. I don't live my life to please others. I don't live my life solely to please God. I don't. I live my life in honor of God and in honor of my mother. And if you like me, good. And if you don't, screw off. I'm not going to kiss anything in order to be accepted. It's not happening. I don't do that, children. And I don't pick on people. And I am not a bully. I taught my boys, tough men. I raised them with the mom. The mom did a real good job. She is a good woman. But they turned out a bit rugged. I told them, you defend those who cannot defend themselves. And so my eldest boy, he was in a fist fight right in the classroom in grade 12. It's remarkable that he made it that far. And not because he's stupid, but he had a very poor example of someone who appreciates education. That was me. His mom, she is a smart girl. She graduated and all that stuff. My boy beat the ever-loving hell out of a guy who was picking on a kid that was just a bit slow. And as they fought it out in the classroom, at the front of the classroom, fists, the teacher was shouting encouragement to my son. There's a reason for that. You try to do the right thing. You defend those who cannot defend themselves. I am now not young, but I am not old. And I get my shoulder back where I can move it, and doesn't quite scream at me as much as it has been. I'm going to get this old body back in shape. But my heart is in shape because my heart is happy. I always say my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I scarce not trust the sweetest frame, but solely lean on Jesus' name, and I do. Am I religious? Not a hope in hell, children. Do I love God? Absolutely. No question. Without, not a question. Are you happy? Listen, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how to be happy. I'm 72 years of age. I I don't think I've ever been happy. If I had been my cousin John Martin, he wouldn't have called me. If he knew that I were a happy camper, I tell people I am a happy camper. But I am finally just beginning to understand what being happy means. I've not arrived. Oh, I know I'm headed in the right direction. I'm not there yet. Okay. I want you to be you. I want you to be the same today as tomorrow or next week. I have tried diligently to be as consistent as I can in all my life, in every facet of it. I'm not there yet. I'm headed there. If you need help in your heart, your soul, your spirit, my God can give that to you. You just need to humble yourself and pray. I'm not going to give you the sinner's prayer again. Gee, this might be 76th video. But I will every second or so video. Let me encourage you in this. You may be getting ready to go under the knife, as I have had 14 times. Some serious, well, some real serious. Live your life as though it is your last day on earth, because it may well be. Perhaps, we don't know. I know I'm going to live long because I talked to my Father about that. Every now and again He'll say, "You are my Son, in whom I am well pleased." And I say, "God, you are my God, in whom I am well pleased." Jesus, you are my Savior, my Lord, my God, in whom I am well pleased. Children, if you can't say that, you just take some time by yourself and you talk to the Lord. He loves you. He loves you. God bless you. I am happy. My prayer is that you are happy, at peace with God, ready to live, or ready to go be with Him when He, God, calls you home. God bless you. I'm going to just slide this over. God bless you. Oh, I have to do something first. God, I ask in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth that you reach down and you touch the brokenhearted. It seems there's one in particular. I don't know much. But if it's you that my Father told me I had to pray for before shutting this off, if your heart's broken, talk to God. Not in a formalized prayer, just talk to God. You don't have to clean anything up in your life. You just talk to God. He'll forgive you for anything anything, and he will never remember. He chooses not to. Father, protect that one. Please heal. Please work a healing. Heart, soul, and spirit, Father, and body. I pray, and body. In Jesus' precious name, amen. God bless you. God bless you.